Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. You can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad, on Instagram at Movies TV Mad 555, and of course on TikTok at Movies TV Mad XXX, where we have a lot of fun. Welcome to Tuesday's edition of the DCEU Daily, and we've got some updates for you, a couple of updates, and then I'm going to tell you how I would have started the DCEU with a Justice League movie. Now, before you mock that idea, take a listen to my big plans. But first of all, Nicole Kidman reportedly returning in Aquaman 2. Now, of course, this was always going to happen. I'm glad that it's been confirmed. Nick really enjoyed her first performance in the first movie as Queen of Atlantia, or whatever you call it. What's she called? The Atlantean Queen? I think that's what she's called. Anyway, according to reports from Hong Kong media outlets, Nicole Kidman will be returning alongside star Jason Momoa in James Wan's Aquaman 2 by Alexander Harrison of Screen Rant. Nicole Kidman is reportedly reprising her role as Atlanta, that's her name, in the upcoming Aquaman 2. Kidman first played the Queen of Atlantis and Mother of Arthur Curry, Aquaman in 2018's Aquaman, which featured Jason Momoa in the title role. The sequel, officially titled Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, is currently scheduled to release on December 16th, 2022. Directed by James Wan, best known as the horror filmmaker who started franchises like Saw and The Conjuring. Shit, I didn't even know he started Saw. That's sensational. Has this guy ever done a bad film? The first Aquaman remains one of the DC Extended Universe's more successful features. It grossed over $1 billion worldwide and received generally positive reviews from critics, particularly for Wan's colourful vision and Momoa's performance, which stood out even in the maligned Whedon cut of Justice League. Multiple characters have already been confirmed to return in Aquaman 2, including Amber Heard's Mera and Patrick Wilson's Orm, Marius Oceanmaster, but there has been no official word on Kidman so far. However, Variety notes that numerous media outlets in Hong Kong, where Kidman was filming the Amazon series Expats, have reported her return in Aquaman 2. While the stories focus primarily on supposed tension on the expat set that Amazon denies led on Kidman leaving early, the online news publication HK01 reports. Let's reread that, because I've been hearing a bit about this. While the stories focus primarily on supposed tension on the expat set that Amazon denies led to Kidman leaving early, the online news publication HK01 reports that Kidman will soon travel to the UK to film for the DCEU movie. Oriental Daily also reported that Kidman will again be portraying Aquaman's mother. So I can tell you that there's no problems between Nicole Kidman and the set of the Amazon show Expats. She left early to do this film. That's all it is. There is no problems whatsoever, but you know the media. Warner Brothers has yet to respond to these reports, but should they prove true, it is worth wondering why the company has yet to announce Kidman's appearance in Aquaman 2 in the original film. Atlanta is found alive after having presumably been sacrificed 2 decades prior and reunites with Arthur's human father, allowing him to ascend to the Atlantean throne. One has said Aquaman 2 is more complex than its predecessor, so it's possible there's a more disruptive role planned for Atlanta this time around. It also could be that Warner Bros. Was simply waiting until the busy Kidman had wrapped to confirm she would take part. Yeah, maybe they just didn't know if they could use her. And I mean, that's understandable. If she's busy, they'd have to write her out, which would have been a shame. I don't think it would have ruined anything too much. But it's always great to see Nick, on TV. She's been a phenomenal star since I was a young man. In refuting the expat news, an Amazon spokesman claimed Kidman always had other projects she was committed to, suggesting her shooting schedule had been penciled in for some time. It's possible the Aquaman 2 team is trying to keep her inclusion a secret to better prevent a very active DCEU fanbase from guessing the plot in advance. But it's just as likely Kidman could show up for a third act cameo, taking advantage of that moment when the viewer is pleasantly surprised to see a recognisable face. How Warner Brothers chose to respond to the reports should offer a clue, even if that response is to completely ignore them. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know what's going on there. I mean, she did finish off reuniting with Arthur's father, so they would be living happily ever after at that lighthouse, I assume. So I don't think it gives anything away. It is interesting that they haven't been forthcoming about her appearance, but maybe they just weren't sure about the scheduling. It's fine. It's no big deal. It's great to have Nicole Kidman in Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. I thought she played a great role in the first movie, and this movie is really, really exciting me. The last movie of 2022, the final DCEU we'll see in 2022, will have such a great picture of what's going on. We would have seen the Batman, Black Adam, which we'll talk about with an article very, very shortly. Then we'll get Flashpoint, then we'll get Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. So that film promises to be really, really awesome. And I'm just glad that we don't know everything about it. And it'll be interesting what they tell us about it at DC Fandom. Black Adam star Sarah Shahi says Dwayne Johnson is incredible in the film. Sex Life actress Sarah Shahi, who plays Adriana Tomaz in Black Adam, says Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is phenomenal in his role in the movie by Saeed Fadullah Hassani of Screen Rant. Black Adam actress Sarah Shahi says that Dwayne Johnson is amazing in the upcoming movie. One of the biggest megastars in Hollywood, fans have long awaited to witness Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's turn as the eponymous ancient Egyptian anti-hero. Initially, Johnson's Black Adam was tipped to appear as a villain in David F. Sandberg's Shazam movie, as well as in an earlier version of Suicide Squad. But considering Johnson's stellar repute, DC spun his character off into a solo film, which I think is a great idea. Set 5,000 years after the wrongful imprisonment of Kagdug warrior, Black Adam surely encountered some roadblocks along the way. But now the film has successfully finished production and it's all set for its release on July the 29th, 2022. While Black Adam is highly anticipated because of Johnson's star power, hang on a minute, yeah, that's partially the reason, but it's a DC movie, it's Black Adam. That's why it's anticipated. Fans are equally excited to see the rest of the movie's star-studded ensemble in action. As confirmed earlier, Black Adam will introduce the Justice Society of America to the DCEU, with stars Noah Centineo, Aldis Hodge, Quintessa Swindell and Pierce Brosnan playing its members, Atom Smasher, Hawkman, Cyclone and Dr. Fate. Besides them, Marwan Kenzari, James Kusati Moya, Bodhi Sabukhi, Mo Amma and Uli Latukfu will also appear in undisclosed roles, with Sex Life's Sarah Shahi essaying the role of Adriana Tomaz, Adam's potential love interest. She's a lot more than that, and she wouldn't appreciate you calling her that. Recently, while talking about her part in the film with IMDb, Shahi spoke about what it was like to work with Dwayne Johnson in Black Adam. The actress expressed great admiration for the former WWE superstar, saying that he's very good at his job. She also added that Johnson was quite professional and hilarious, and that he really killed his scenes as the titular anti-hero. Read what she said below. The Rock was incredible. DJ was awesome. We had an incredible cast on Black Adam. He's super funny, he's very professional, and he's incredible in his role. Clearly, Shahi isn't the first Black Adam co-star to be in awe of Johnson. Previously, several of the movie's stars have applauded the Jumanji actor for his amiable nature and quality of work. Recently, Pierce Brosnan stated that he greatly admires Johnson for what he's created for himself in life and how he conducts himself with the world at large. Before that, Aldis Hodge also commended the actor, indicating that his hard work motivates him to do and train better for Black Adam. We must always remember that The Rock is all these people's boss. Do remember that, but I'm not saying they're not speaking the truth. It's great that they're speaking positively about him. One thing that fans will probably never have to worry about with Black Adam is the lack of chemistry between the actors. Sure, the movie took a long time to gestate and the production wasn't sleek either. What? What are you talking about? This production has run very smoothly. Forget about the past. Sure, the movie took a long time to gestate and the production wasn't sleek either, but the co-stars were always at the same wavelength as each other. and this really helped the movie to continue filming smoothly. After shooting kicked off, the actors on Black Adam may not be the best of friends, still they have massive respect for... What? The actors on Black Adam may not be the best of friends, still they have massive respect for each other's work, and this bodes well for the film in terms of execution and choreography. For a film that focuses in on such an ensemble and is packed to the brim with heavy action, it certainly helps to have the co-stars well coordinated, and hopefully this mutual harmonisation will play out well for the movie once it hits theatres next year. Sometimes with articles you do wonder if the author of the article was smoking something or snorting something before he, she, or however they identify it, wrote the article, because that was odd. No, they're not the best of friends. Most people working in entertainment are not the best of friends. But there's a mutual respect there, and it's great. I'm very excited for this movie. It's, as I say, whether you're fighting to restore the Snyderverse or you're going to support these 4 movies and these HBO Max DC shows, one thing's for sure. 2022 will be a historic year for the DCEU. It's either going to rise or fall. But isn't it interesting with the DCEU? It doesn't seem to need big box office to keep going. That's very interesting. Will it finally be a success, or will it just keep on limping on? We'll have to wait and see till next year. I think we've all put ourselves in the position of Zack Snyder back in 2011 or Walter Hamada in 2018 and asked ourselves, how would have we launched the DCEU? Now, I've catalogued so many times the mistakes that have been made, the problems, and we all know the problems, and it's not worth going over them. So I have spoken to you on lives before and editorials how I would do the DCEU, but I've now got a new idea. How about in 2013, instead of Man of Steel, what if the DCEU launched with a Justice League movie? Wait a minute, and I know I've said before they should have taken their time with some origins, but what if this is the film that bleeds out the rest of the DCEU? Think about it. What if this film is actually an adaptation of the comics and the highly rated, loved animated series Justice League and Justice League Unlimited? They're great shows. What if this movie actually used the iconic theme tune from the actual animated series? Now wait a minute, I believe that theme tune translates pretty well into live action. So you've got a fully fledged Hall of Justice with all the tiers we see in the animated series, right? Full of all these DC characters and superheroes going after these DC villains, right? No origin stories are needed. They're there. They're already in the Justice League. We're not going to see a setup for the Justice League. We don't need to see the Justice League set up. It's fully formed. It's already there. You've got Superman, you've got Batman, you've got Wonder Woman. Now, I'm going back to 2011, so I would have cast things a little bit differently, and I think that's up to me. But even if we cancelled the DCEU after the first Suicide Squad movie and we went back to the start and I was given the job to be in charge of this, I would have done the same thing. Sacked everyone involved, including the cast, started from scratch. That's what I would have done. That's my personal opinion and that's my right. Comment down below what you would have done with the DCEU if you started back in 2011, 2012 when they were developing it. Right, so you've got a fully fledged Justice League, right? You can focus on any characters you like. And really, if you look at one of the success stories of the Suicide Squad movies, both of them, is the way the characters adjust there. I kind of like how Waller introduces them in the first Suicide Squad, but even the way James Gunn does it. I got my third viewing of James Gunn's The Suicide Squad yesterday. I rented it on UHD over on Prime Video and really enjoyed it last night, and said to my brother, quickly give this film a watch because he hasn't seen it yet. I want him to watch it. Yeah, great movie, really enjoyed it. And while I was watching it, guess what? I never thought about the theatrical box office once. I just enjoyed a great movie, and it was great to get away from movie Twitter where everyone is having an orgasm about the Shang-Chi box office. I didn't realise you all had shares in fucking Disney. I just want to mute the letters MCU, the words Shang-Chi, box office from my Twitter timeline. I'm just so fed up of that fucking franchise. I want to focus on the franchise I stand, the DCEU. Right, How would we frame a Justice League movie to be the first movie in the DC Extended Universe? Well, I don't really have a clue about an actual story, but I know how I would end it. I would end it in a cliffhanger. Superman would be trapped in the Phantom Zone. So the next movie would be a Superman movie, and then we start with the League standing there wondering what they can do now Cal's trapped in the Phantom Zone. And they say, look, we can't do anything about it. This is Cal. This is on Cal now. It's up to him. This is his trial. It's up to him. No one can help him to escape, you know, from the Phantom Zone. And, you know, unlike the Supergirl recent, you know, series where they dumped her in the Phantom Zone and she conveniently found her dad and they escape and it's easy. Now, Smallville did a really great job aesthetically with the Phantom Zone. I think Supergirl's Phantom Zone is not as good, and they've got a bigger budget, right, than the Smallville Phantom Zone. I actually love it, and it really worked well. Now, I'm not sure if I like someone helping Clark escape from the Phantom Zone. That could have been his moment in the desert, his challenge to spend a few episodes in the Phantom Zone. But I still liked Rhea, and that's the Kryptonian who helped him escape. So I did like it, and I liked the way it looked, and I liked the idea of the Zoners coming to Earth and, you know, that being a problem for Clark and Clark blaming himself. So I kind of like all of that. But I think it's a good idea, because what you do is, right, with the Justice League ending in this cliffhanger where Superman is trapped in the Phantom Zone, he's there totally on his own, and he's kind of seeing things that are not there, but he also sees phantoms he has to fight. And don't forget, he's not going to have any powers. So he would spend a lot of time with Superman in the Phantom Zone, trying to find a way out, seeing things that are not there. This would be half the movie. Meanwhile, on Earth, you know, villains are rising. You know, the crime wave has gone up without Superman in Metropolis. You know, the Justice League are overrun. They need Superman to come back. So ultimately, I would say in the second half of the movie, he rises up, he finds a way out, we'll contrive him a way out of it, he comes back and, you know, faces the challenge and stands with the Justice League. So it may be a Superman movie, but it doesn't mean you can't have, you know, the Justice League there anyway, because it's a Justice League franchise. That's what we want to do. So at the ending of each solo movie, we lead in a cliffhanger that leads to another character solo movie. So maybe we do Green Lantern or Cyborg or Batman or whoever. They would have their own cliffhanger. Excuse me, terrible cough. But each solo movie would have a cliffhanger at the end of it involving the character whose solo movie is coming next. So every movie bleeds into the other. Now, I know the MCU do post-credit scenes, and I'm not saying I wouldn't do post-credit scenes because I like them, but I'd love each film to have a cliffhanger ending. That could be the signature of the DCEU. Each cliffhanger bleeds into the next movie for the next character. And so that's what happens. Now, you can still have an arc. You can still have an overarching villain, and it can still be exciting. And as I say, you can still have your post-credit scenes, but that would be my idea. And so all of you are shouting at the screen and saying, that wouldn't work, you can't have a Justice League first. Think about it. The Justice League it's not an origin story, but it introduces you to all these characters, which means when you meet them again in their solo movies, you know them. You're reunited with them. That's kind of the standard bearer. So I actually think having a Justice League movie, a fully fledged Justice League movie, adapting the animated series and the comics and being kind of faithful to that, because look, Snyder had his own ideas. Snyder was always going to do what he was going to do. That's why it would have been great to have, you know, Bruce Timm run the entirety of the DC Extended Universe, because he would have done a similar thing. So if you start with a Justice League movie, I just think, you know, we can see the Hall of Justice fully built with all these heroes. Of course, we can't see every single hero, but we'll see them. We'll see them in the Hall of Justice. We'll focus on this one. We'll focus on that one. We can have background characters, you know. We can have a main focus of the story. You can even do something very similar to what they did in the very first episode of the animated Justice League series. And I think that's when, is it Green Arrow doesn't want to join the League. I think that, and he goes on a mission with Martian Manhunter and Kara. I remember that's right, and it's really good. So for the whole episode, right, he's saying, right, I just want to be dropped off. I don't want to be here. I don't know why you've summoned me here. I don't want to be here. It's really great, and I think you could do a similar thing. It wouldn't necessarily have to be Green Arrow, but I think Green Arrow would be a great character to do it with. It could be Kara's first day. It could be Plastic Man's first day. They could be so they could be part of the story as well. And I think it's just interesting if you've got this whole league there and you can focus on whoever you want. It will be a lot of fun. And if you could bring the spirit of the animated series, I think the fans would love it, because the fans just want to see it how they want to see it. And at the end of the day, they are the customers. So if they did this from the very beginning, having a Justice League movie launching the DCEU, just imagine that. Launching an extended cinematic universe. I personally had this idea yesterday, and I think it's a great idea, even though it is my own, so maybe I'm a little bit biased. I think if you use your imaginations out there, I think you know this would have worked. But isn't this what the Flashpoint movie truly is? In all intents and purposes, we are going to see the whole of the DCEU Justice League. In all intents and purposes, we're probably going to see many members of the Suicide Squad. We're going to see Wonder Woman. We're going to see Affleck's Batman. They're all going to be in it, right? The Flash movie. So it's kind of but they're doing it. They're expanding it to the multiverse. We're going to see all these iterations of these DCEU characters. So what they're doing with Flashpoint is literally what I suggested they did from the very beginning. That's how I would have done it. As I say, if you start off with a Justice League movie, then you can bleed through that movie for the solo movies. And also, you don't have to worry about setting up all the characters. They're still going to get their solo movies, but they won't be origin movies. They're no way going to be origin movies. We've seen them. They're all members of the Justice League, but they have their solo adventures as well. But you can't do this thing where, because it's a solo movie, that the Justice League's busy that week, or that those 2 hours of that movie. No. You've got to reference the Justice League. You've got to see certain members. You can even go to the Hall of Justice for advice, even though it's your solo movie. I think it will be a lot of fun. And this is what people actually want to see. I think it is. I think people would love it. You start with Justice League, and then it just expands and it expands and it expands. And I think it will be a lot of fun. I really do. I'd love to know what you would do to start off the DCEU, but I'd love to know in the comments down below what you would, if you like my idea. Because as I say, I think it's pretty much what we're going to get. Now, here's another theory that I may have told you about on my live. I bet you any money, after Flashpoint, when Barry thinks he's fixed everything, he comes back to a fully built Hall of Justice. I bet you any money. Right, no, let's have a bet. Let's have a sportsman's bet. Right, how much should we bet, right? A free Blu-ray, a tenner, whatever. This t-shirt, I don't know. These shorts, I don't care. Right? I bet you anything you want that when Barry comes out of Flashpoint, there is a fully fledged Hall of Justice. Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me one little bit. These are part of the changes that I think are going to be there. So you've got all these characters already there, ready to have their own solo outings and, you know, outings on HBO Max. And I think that would be great. So that's my theory, because we've done the whole thing of setting up the Justice League. It's worked for some people. It hasn't worked for others. But we've done that. You know, by rebooting the universe, we don't have to worry about all of that now. We're starting again. There's a fully fledged Hall of Justice with all these Justice League members, and you can focus on anyone you want. By doing that after Flashpoint, you can literally have a Justice League in the next couple of years, which would be great. And I know some people would be saying we won't get a Justice League for ages. Well, 2 or 3 years is ages anyway. They have to write it, develop it, cast it, make it. So that's fine. But I think they could still feature in the solo movies. And I think if they've got any brains whatsoever, that's what they do. having a ready-made Hall of Justice with all these members already there, I think that's the best thing. And maybe we should still steer clear of origin stories. We've done origin stories. You know, if we're going to do these things now, let's just say they're there. The Hall of Justice is there and the Justice League is there. What fun would that be? Again, comment down below. Let me know. Do you think after Flashpoint, at the end of the Flash movie, that when Barry comes back from Flashpoint and when he thinks he's fixed everything, that there's now a fully fledged Hall of Justice and a Justice League when he goes back to Earth 1 or whatever Earth he goes to? But let me ask you a deeper question. In Matt Reeves' Earth 2, could there already be the Hall of Justice there, but Batman isn't a part of it yet? Because this is a young Batman. Maybe he hasn't joined them yet, right? We've seen that fancy dress party in the pictures, right? We've seen someone dressed up as Wonder Woman and Superman. So it could be that these characters are celebrities now. But this Batman is only just started out and he's not ready to join the Justice League. So comment down below and let me know what you think about that. But yeah, I definitely think after Flashpoint, definitely a ready to go Justice League and Hall of Justice. And I would absolutely love that. I think the things I'm saying are common sense, because the Hall of Justice is an amazing thing. Watchtower is an amazing thing. And these are all part of the history of these DC characters and universes. So to have one ready-made would be absolutely amazing. And imagine Barry finding that when he comes back. Because when he leaves, the Justice League has only just started, right? Because the Flash movie is pretty much straight after the Snyder Cut, probably, or maybe a few years after the Snyder Cut or whatever. So they still haven't built out the Justice League. So unless there's already a Justice League there at the beginning of the film, but I doubt it. It will just be the original characters we saw in Zack Snyder's Justice League. And so when he comes back, it's expanded and it's ready to go. How exciting would that be? Yeah, I'd love your thoughts on that. But I think these are the kind of changes that Walter Hamada is going to make. And this is why I'm sitting here thinking, is it 2022 yet? Because it's just too long to wait. Thank God we're getting fandom. It was great watching the Suicide Squad yesterday for a third time. It made me appreciate this franchise we've had thus far. How can we label the DCEU? It doesn't have to be like the most successful thing ever. But if you enjoyed any film from the DCEU, good for you. Luckily, I've enjoyed quite a few. I'm not saying it's a great franchise, but maybe it's not so bad either. Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman, Suicide Squad, Zack Snyder's Justice League, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Shazam, Birds of Prey, bit of a middling movie, Wonder Woman 84, not the greatest, but then the MCU has got its movies that are not the greatest either. And James Gunn's The Suicide Squad is a marked improvement on the other two movies we recently had, which is good. And now we're rebooting the whole entire franchise. We are kind of beginning again, as we've already been told. And personally, I'm very, very excited. And this is why I came up with this theory today, because I felt, you know, you have to do this in a way. You know, because if you expand the Justice League, like I would have done from the very beginning, and have it there ready, then you have the potential to do everything. Because having to set up another Justice League, or even keeping this one and having them build it out, just wastes screen time. But having a fully fledged, expanded Justice League, you know, Hall of Justice with all its members, and the Hall of Justice has got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of, you know, of these metahumans, you know, working to protect people. The Justice League has many, many members. I'm not sure in the comics how many members of the Avengers they are, but certainly, you know, the Justice League is a huge concern, and maybe even thousands of superheroes are part of the Justice League. So, you know, go and read it. Even if you go and see the animated series, if you see them in the Hall of Justice, there's so many people there. There's a place where they dine, where they eat. It's such a big place, and I think it's so vast. If we could do that on the big screen, that would be so awesome. This has been the DCEU Daily here on Movies TV Mag. I'm Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives. I will see you again on the next video. Like, share, comment, subscribe, tell everyone about me, and I will see you again on the next video. Until then, goodbye.